Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
All right, welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. And if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us where you live and what you do for a living.
Sure, thanks. And thanks for having me on. I'm Kim Pierce. I live in a suburb of Chicago, Orland Park, and I am a founder of a company. So I started my own company about 2 years ago, and it's just sort of getting rolling now. So it's pretty exciting. My company's name is KIMEEZ, my hat.
Awesome. So can you just tell me more about KIMEEZ and how you got the idea for it?
Sure. Yeah, that's a great. It's an interesting story, I guess. Right. So in the fall of 21, I had lost my job and I was going through some stuff personally, and so I kind of needed a break. Right. I needed a break from everything, just life in general. So I had just bought a house over the summer, and I'm rehabbing my house. And so I'm outside. It was a beautiful fall day. So I was outside doing some work, and I met a neighbor. And so he stopped and we were chatting. Come to find, he's an inventor. He's an architect. He's got multiple patents, just an amazing guy, right? So we chatted for a while and he went on his way. And I kind of came in the house and I'm like, just really trying to think about what I want to do going forward. Do I want to go back? I've been in the association space for probably about 20 years. I was a CEO of a Chicago chapter of an association. And I thought, nothing excites me. Like nothing excites me. I've always wanted to own my own company, but didn't really know what to do. I think the natural thing is to go into consulting, right? I've got a business and an accounting background, but that just nothing excited me. So after meeting this neighbor, I came in the house and I thought, I've had an idea for a product forever, but never in a million years did I think of actually doing it myself, right? So it was a product that I had always looked for and I could never find. So I came up with different ways to kind of to fill the need that I felt I had, right? A solution to a problem that I felt I had. And none of the solutions worked. So long story short, or longer, depending on what you think, I came in and I reached out to that neighbor and asked if I could pick his brain. He said, sure. And here I am. A little over 2 years later, I got my first shipment of inventory in October, started selling on Amazon in December.
That's amazing. So can you tell me more about like the exact products and the problem that you're solving?
Yeah. So I, as a woman in business, or just a woman in general, right, with the different shoes that we wear, there are a lot of shoes that we wear that you can't wear socks with. I hate the feeling of wearing a shoe without a sock. I don't like it. I have sweaty feet. My feet sweat, right? I mean, I'm human. A lot of people sweat, and I don't think it's anything to necessarily be embarrassed about, but a lot of people are. A lot of people would like you to take your shoes off if you go somewhere. So it's kind of gross, right? You take your shoe off, your foot's sweaty, you're getting, sweat on their floor, whatever. So I hated the feeling of my bare foot in a shoe, and you could kind of see some of the shoes behind me. But so I would put a panty liner in my shoe, and it wasn't the right material, wasn't the right adhesive. The adhesive would stick to my shoe. It just wasn't meant, obviously, to be worn in a shoe. Put tissue in my shoes, but obviously that would like tear up, and it was just a hot mess. So after I met this neighbor, I thought, I'm going to create a disposable shoe liner. Right. I mean, I've been on Amazon. I've been on Google looking for disposable shoe liners, and there are some out there, but nothing like what I created. I really wanted to solve a couple problems, right? Like when I was younger, I mean, this is like way TMI, right? But when I was younger, I had really smelly feet. If I wore black socks, it was, you didn't want to be in the same room as me. So I wanted to create a liner that, number one, absorbs the sweat, and number two, absorbs the odor, right? So that it, again, trying to alleviate the embarrassment problem. So I developed a liner. I have 2 patents pending, and I've got 2 different designs. So I have a design specifically for women that is called a heel palm, kind of to be worn in a heel. It's to be worn in an open shoe of any kind, very discreet. So you can put it in your shoe. No one knows it's there. The liners are actually 3 layers, but they're super thin. So you don't even realize that it's in your shoe. But they work really, really well. And then I create a full shoe version that is for men and women. And that one is called the foot palm. So it covers the whole foot. And same thing, it's a 3-layer design. It's got a wicking layer, an absorbing layer, a protecting layer, and then there's an adhesive on the liner. So it stays in place in your shoe. And then it comes out clean. So no residue left in your shoe after you wear it.
That's awesome. So in terms of like getting the word out, obviously starting, a company can be very difficult, but how have you gotten your first few customers, or really just how are you focusing on getting more customers in 2024?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, Amazon is great. Amazon's phenomenal. It's probably 99% of my sales right now are on Amazon, and I utilize their advertising platforms, right? So it's expensive. I mean, I'm doing great in terms of revenue, but I'm not making any money, right? Because a lot of my money is going right back into the advertising. Social media is king, isn't it? So definitely there. I started doing trade shows. I did my first trade show in July. So I've kind of got a five pillars to my sales strategy. So obviously the social media and the retail, or I'm sorry, social media online platforms is one. Retail is another one. So looking to get into more retail, actually trying to get into my first retail in 2024. So I'll be really focused on continuing the social media, continuing the e-commerce, getting into retail in 2024. I'm going to do 2 more trade shows this summer. And then I've got a couple other things up my sleeve. So I'm excited about some of the other things that I'll be focusing on too this year.
Awesome. So when you're driving traffic from your social media, are you driving it to Amazon, or are you also selling like on your website? What does that look like?
Yeah, I do have a website, so would love to drive it to my website, but Amazon is just so easy. So we are driving it to Amazon. Amazon has some great programs for sellers like myself. So if you are driving traffic from your social media to Amazon, they kind of reward you for that a little bit, right? So my fees aren't as high if it's coming, and we can track that. So doing that. But I do fulfilled by Amazon. So I send inventory to Amazon, and then they fulfill my orders there. And then I can either fulfill my own orders from my website, or I do multi-channel fulfillment. So I can actually have Amazon fulfill those as well. So again, I'm probably 99% on Amazon, 1% on my website. And most of the website are, friends and family. So yeah.
Awesome. So how do you measure customer lifetime value with your products?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's something that I'm just starting to get into, actually. My product is a disposable product, right? It's made from all recycled materials. So, we are obviously earth conscious and, trying to think about sustainability and stuff like that. And with my product, even though it's disposable, we are made from recycled materials. But what we're really sort of focused on is we enhance and we extend the life of your shoes. So you're able to keep your shoes longer, your experience with your shoes is better, and that kind of thing. So the purpose of my product is to use it, throw it away, use it again. And we're just starting to see, I'm in my 3rd month on Amazon. So we're just starting to see repeat buyers. And we've been approved for subscribe and save. So, again, I'm pretty young in my journey here, but we have just under 30 subscribe and save members on Amazon. So that's something that I will be looking at, but right now I don't have a real good answer for you on that.
Makes sense. So essentially, like your focus now, because like it's so early, but like essentially, you want people to subscribe and buy like every few months because they will need like the product to keep their shoes fresh, or if they get new shoes, things like that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's interesting because I've talked to a lot of people throughout this journey. I've never met so many people who don't wear socks at all. I've met, guys who tell me I work out and I work out, I don't wear socks. So my gym shoes get disgusting. I can't wear them, 2 days in a row. So it's a great product for something like that. Sort of the Hey Dude brand is a great product. If you wear them, or if you're familiar with them, they get stinky after a couple days, so this is a great product to just throw in there, take it out in a couple days, toss it, put a new one in, and save the shoes. So yeah, it's interesting to see how people are with their shoes and socks and what they do. And again, the gym shoe thing shocked me. Like I could never wear my gym shoes without socks. And in all honesty, if I can do a no-show sock, I'm doing a no-show sock. But there's obviously a lot of shoes you can't. But I've met so many people too that just don't wear socks at all. I mean, even in the winter, they don't wear socks, which, I'm a big proponent of socks. I love socks. But this is a great alternative when you can't use a sock or you don't like the feel of a sock.
For sure. So in terms of retail specifically, like what are, I guess, some stores we could really see your product being, or types of stores?
Yeah, well, I'm starting with the smaller stores, right? Would I love to be in DSW? Absolutely. Would I love to be in Target and Walmart? Of course. But I'm starting with the smaller, independently owned shoe stores is where I'm starting. And I just created a retail pack. That's something that I learned at my first trade show. The pack that I sell on Amazon is a box of 20 pair. And the retailers that I met at the trade show were like, your product is kind of an upsell in our store. It's an impulse buy, so it's got to be under $10. So I just created a retail pack. So you'll be able to find a smaller pack of the product if you just want to try it out. You'll be able to find that in stores hopefully very soon.
For sure. But are you looking at like bundles or like other products maybe that could, complement your products?
That's more of a longer term strategy for me. When I came into this, I was really going home like, it's all about sweat, sweat, no sweat. I'm focused on sweat and helping people and be comfortable in your sweat and sweat with confidence and all that. And then I created the shoe liner and I thought I've got all these ideas for other products, right? What else can I do to help people with their sweat? And I follow a lot of people on LinkedIn, which is I think where you and I connected. I follow so many people on LinkedIn and some really great entrepreneurs that I started following even a couple of years ago that are like, just focus on what you're really good at, right? So I think for me, right now I'm focused on the shoe liners. And I really want to perfect it, right? I mean, because first out of the gate, I think it's a good product. Could it be improved? Absolutely. I think you can always improve. I'm coming out with a sport version of the product, so an active version. The current version is designed a little bit more for a dress shoe, so it's a little more narrow. So if you put it in a gym shoe, it's still effective, but it doesn't cover the full insole of a gym shoe. So I'm creating an active sort of sport version that's going to be a little bit thicker, still won't affect the fit of your shoe, and it's going to be a little bit wider. So it'll really cover the entire insole of your shoe.
For sure. So obviously in 2024, many companies are using things like AI. So at KIMEEZ, do you use AI? And if not, where could AI maybe add value for your business?
I think it can add value. Right now it's just me. And then I have somebody who does my social media. So she's phenomenal. She just started working with me December, I think around December 23rd. So I saw a huge uptick, right, in our social media and our followers and stuff like that. So she's not currently utilizing AI. Do I think it's beneficial? I do. I hate to write. I would rather talk than write. So I think for somebody like me, who it takes a really long time to write a paragraph, I think it's good for somebody like me. I think it can really help. I think it can enhance what I'm writing. But I think for people who are really good at writing and are effective at writing and what they do, I don't know that it's necessarily that important for them. And I think the person I am doing my social media, I think she does a great job with the messaging. And so right now we're not using it. Will we use it in the future? Probably. I think everybody will be, right? So. Yeah.
Do you feel like AI could add value maybe like in a chat, where somebody could explain your products for a customer who's not 100% sure if they have questions about it, things like that?
I'm very much about the human contact, right? And so I think I may be very naive in thinking that I'm always going to be able to talk to my customer. I hope one day that it's way too much and I can't, but I think for now, I never say never, but I don't know that that's the experience I want my customers to have. I still want my customers to have the human experience. So again, never say never, but I don't know, maybe sometime in the future.
For sure. So what would you say is the one biggest piece of advice that you wish you knew before you started this company?
Oh, several things. I've made a lot of really expensive mistakes. I think probably the biggest thing I would say is, in terms of the financial aspect of it, I'm trying to go completely self-funded. I'm trying not to get investors in the company. I'm doing it by myself. I'm alone. So, it's been a little bit of a struggle. So I would say for anybody who's doing this and who wants to try to be self-funded and maybe not get investors in the company, make sure before you start the process that you've kind of got those things lined up, because it's a lot harder to do once you're in it, right? So once you've kind of depleted the funds that you have, because everything has taken so much longer than I ever expected. So I think once you deplete those funds and you don't have those funds, it's harder to get funds. So I would say, really think ahead about the financial strain and the financial contributions that you have to make, and try to get that set up sort of before you start getting into it, especially in a business like mine where there's inventory involved, right? Because
Right.
as I said, my sales on Amazon are doing really, really well, but I'm not seeing any of that money yet. So I have to replenish my inventory, yet I'm not making any money. So that I
Right.
think is probably the biggest thing.
For sure. So you're saying in hindsight, you would have maybe raised some money before you got started.
Not necessarily even raised money, but I think I would have set myself up a little bit differently in terms of my own funds, my own capital, right? So,
Got it.
equity lines and stuff like that. So I think
Right, right.
I would have definitely done it differently.
Makes sense. So if we're going to have this conversation again in 1 year from now, where do you see things going for KIMEEZ?
I think in 1 year from now, I think I'm going to be sleeping better. I think I'm not going to be quite as nervous about everything. I think I'm going to be nervous, but in different ways. In a year from now, I hope to have, up to 5 employees. I'm pretty excited about the future. I'm really excited. I think it's a great product, but I could be a little bit biased. I get nervous every time I see that I have a new review on Amazon or on my website, because I'm like, oh gosh, what are people going to say? I've been so pleasantly surprised about the reviews. But yeah, in a year from now, I'd love to talk to you again then. But I think I'm still going to be smiling just as big, but I think I'm going to feel a little bit more comfortable in what I'm doing in a year from now.
For sure. Yeah. And we're rooting for you. So if somebody watching this wanted to reach out, do you mind sharing your website or social media, I guess, best ways to get in contact?
Absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, my website is mykimeez.com. It's mykimeez.com. My email, and I'm happy to talk to anyone who's going through this process, or, again, everything took a lot longer than I was expecting. It took me 2 years to get my inventory. Again, made a lot of kind of bad mistakes along the way. So I'd love to help anyone who is sort of along this journey and needs any advice. I'm happy to share. But my website is pierce@mykimeez.com. So it's PIERCE at mykimeez.com.
So, well, Kim, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. It's great meeting you. Can't wait to talk to you again.
Sounds great. Thank you. All right.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye-bye.